Imagine tripling the leverage you have on your existing marketing budget, on your existing overhead, and driving forward double, triple, even quadruple your sales and profits. Hey, this is Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. I want to describe to you a cooperative marketing joint venture method that transforms businesses. And it's a very practical system that's been around since the late 1800s and early 1900s. And two practical examples there is the De Beers Diamond Cooperative and the Milk Board. So you might not have ever heard of those, but it's a collaboration where several non-competing yet complementary organizations come together, strategically buy up assets, strategically market their products and services, and centralize the overhead associated with growing business. I know a lot of you folks are worried about search engine optimization and writing the perfect sales letter and even getting it right. Do we test free shipping or not? Well, those things are actually distractions. I developed a system a while back after working with government contractors and seeing this particular method in place at all kinds of levels. Even the Small Business Administration has what's called a mentor-protege program, where two organizations will pool their assets to mutually pursue customers. They have the same customer. Why not pool their money and go after that customer? Now, I'm going to give you two reasons why I'm explaining this to you. One reason is that if you're not getting enough money for your copywriting work, maybe you need 5 figures for a sales letter because of the work you put into it, because of the detail of the research and the history that you know, and everything you bring together and you can put on the table for a client, great value, and then they want to pay you $99 for a sales letter. Or they just can't talk about anything over $25,000. And I hear a lot of copywriters complain about that. They can't even get $1,000 for something because what the customer sees has very little value because the customer believes they're buying a lead generation piece, or they're buying pay-per-click, or they're buying a sales letter. But the truth of it is that most organizations need more than a sales letter. And if they understand about cooperative marketing, they could pool their resources between divisions or product lines. They could pool their resources with their trade association or local economic development board. And they could actually invest in the right copywriting services, which may include a sales letter, lead generation pieces, 2 or 3 channels driving volume to that opportunity, and then the consulting services that are necessary to set up the tracking on their website correctly so they know what the hell's going on. See, your customers, when they look at you as a copywriter, see you very narrowly scoped, almost as a commodity. Well, this joint venture concept, whether you help your customers do it or you do it as a copywriter, puts you in a position to pool a limited amount of resources together for mutual gain. It's one of the principles that helped me develop strategic relations. It is that transforming business relationship into profits guaranteed. So the first part is it really helps your customers create a bigger purchase. It increases the transaction size and the opportunity you can deliver to the customer, and helps them finance more complete solutions. Now let's look at the other side of it. As a copywriter, perhaps you specialize in business-to-business copy for chemical manufacturers. And you've got a job for a chemical manufacturer who's now getting into hemp plastics. Now, yes, I am pulling this from a client example, but they're getting into hemp plastics, and then they're going to feed the plastics into a manufacturing process to create what's basically input to some other customers. And now you're going from selling the manufacturing process and the chemical development to finding customers who are not buying chemicals, but buying a finished solid product. Now, this is very important because in some chemical applications, it's actually cheaper to ship a solid, and the solid is closer to the customer's use. And so this is very important, but you only have specialization in the chemical work. Well, using this joint venture philosophy, you can subcontract or partner with an organization who knows about selling plastic. And in fact, with this mindset, you can go out to the best copywriter on selling raw material plastic who's already writing for their competitors of this chemical manufacturer who's changing their direction, and ultimately bring the right solution to the table. I know this sounds a little complex and confusing, and I really am going to do a number of webinars to explain it to you, because this is a powerful concept. And let me give you the big idea. Through joint ventures, you go from having limited resources to unlimited resources. So in both cases, your customer, you've presented them a proposal. It's $35,000. All your competitors are $10,000. Your $35,000 includes all the pieces that are necessary to get the results the customer is looking for. They come to this table and say they only have $10,000. Well, since what you're selling them is not the same as what the other ones are providing, through the analysis, the customer discovers that you're not just delivering copywriting, but you're delivering advisory services. So the concept here of cooperative effort is going inside the customer's organization and looking at different segments of their budget so that they can buy the $10,000 worth of copywriting that they've already agreed to, as well as draw something out of their training budget to cover the area where you're going to show their team how to use this copy, or draw something from their operational budget where you're going to go into the business and correct things such as lead tracking mechanisms, or you're going to improve their CRM platform. So yes, they're still buying the $10,000 of copywriting that they agree is there, but they're getting these other services through a syndication inside their organization to borrow a little bit from each section as it is appropriate for the right end result, for the right solution. Can you see how that works? See, you just sat down in a sales presentation. You showed them 30-something thousand. They're expecting 10,000. You differentiate what you've got by going through the reason why you have these additional elements. The negotiation is no longer a negotiation. It's simply, let's figure out how you can pay for this because we mutually agree this is something that you need. Now, let's go one step further. Let's say you're doing lead generation for a client. They cannot afford to have it done the right way. Yet again, they cannot afford to have it done the wrong way. They're convinced you've offered them the right solution, but they can't pay for it. Now you sit down with him and ask questions like, for example, do you have marketing funds or matching funds available from your manufacturers? See, when I was selling computer services, I would add on electronics and computer components. And most of the large vendors like Ingram and Dell Computers, they offered me what was called spiffs. So if I sold their product, they would match the marketing dollars that I spent and allow me to basically reach more people marketing their product. Now think about it, folks. I would have a marketing budget, maybe $1,000 a month. Dell Computers would send me another $1,000 a month, and I would make my marketing campaign include a Dell computer as a solution. I did swap them out and have Ingram Micro, who was doing white boxes for me. Ingram Micro offered me $1,500, so I would use my $1,000, their $1,500. I would get a campaign out, recover all of the money, all $2,500 in the margin that I had in the effort, and we're all happy. It's a cooperative arrangement. It's a very simple setup. So your customer says, well, I can't afford it. And you say, well, is this the right solution for you? And they say, yeah, I agree it's the right solution. It's just too much. I said, well, I wouldn't want you to make a mistake that would cost you more. And the customer says, well, that's right, but I still don't have the money. And well, here's what we can do for you. See, you don't lower your prices. You don't back out and give them less than what they need because they're going to hate you for that. You can say, okay, well, let me help you find ways to pay for this because we know, and now you can go as far as what I do in business development services is actually do a cash flow. But let's show you how this actually costs you nothing because doing the right marketing campaign will recover the initial investment and provide seed funds available that you'll need to continue this campaign for years to come. Now a $39,000, $40,000, $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 copywriting assignment, it doesn't really seem like much because we have the scale. And if you're writing for a company that's maybe got 2,500 customers, they can pay less than a company who has 250,000 customers. But they shouldn't because if the product you're delivering is the same, you should get top dollar for what it is that you offer. But that small company with only 2,500 customers may not want to be a company with 25,000 customers. They may not have the capacity or the resources. This is something we saw when I was working with doing business development for internet services providers. So the service provider couldn't handle the capacity of new business that we were driving towards them. They were Digital Nation in Northern Virginia, and I was working with them on and off on various business development projects, various technical projects, and they were just at capacity. But they were bringing on more and more hosting customers with a new product that they had, and they were just driving it like crazy. In fact, they got to a momentum where a minimal amount of marketing would drive just more customers than they can imagine. Now, this is during the .com, and they were supporting application development, so there's a little bit of bubble in this. But here's what we did. The organization couldn't handle the capacity, but could clearly get the customers. So they partnered with PSINet. PSINet ended up, you can structure these things differently, but PSINet actually bought them out while the marketing group for Digital Nation continued to do what they do. They ended up getting an unlimited capacity with PSINet. The developers actually ported the platform so that they could do the same service on PSINet. It's kind of like what we have today with a hosted website done for you, kind of cPanel type of platform. This is back in the 90s. But my point being is that if you can get customers, that's the most valuable part. If you as a copywriter know how to get customers for your customers or clients, then you can actually syndicate that value and help your customers afford the products that they need. That $25,000 job, if you've got two clients who are non-competing and complementary to each other, who both benefit from the leads generated by that campaign, they both can pay $15,000 for the assignment. Now, you might be saying, Justin, well, that doesn't make sense. If it originally cost $25,000 and then they're each paying $15,000, wouldn't I as a copywriter now get $30,000 for the same work? Yes. And isn't it true that if the client believes it's worth $15,000, that it really is worth $15,000 in the marketplace, but as a copywriter or a business development professional or as a marketer, I got paid $30,000 for $15,000 worth of work? Yes, that's true. And if you put 5 people in a partnership, you might get even paid any more. Now, you would charge them, of course, $20,000 each, and now you're getting paid $100,000 for $15,000 or even $10,000 worth of work. Mind blown. How do you think that works? Well, the fact of the matter is it's matching the right people. It's understanding that the leads generated with one company are just as good as the leads that could be generated for another company. Now, I'm not talking about selling leads. I'm not talking about generating leads and selling to 5 people. I'm talking about, for example, in the hosting platform, generating leads who are getting hosting services and then turning around and having those leads funded by web designers. See, they both serve the same customers. One actually feeds the other. And you already generate the lead. Why not do more with the lead? Now, more importantly, let's get all the money up front so that the web designer, the hosting company, and even marketing professionals come together. They split the cost 3 ways. Now, you're going to have to deal with multiple people, so you do have to add a margin in it. But they split the cost relatively 3 ways. They get in the opportunity, they generate a lead, and now they are able to deliver a more complete package. Now, I'm not going to get into mergers and acquisitions and the back end of what this opportunity creates for you. But I want you to understand that, first off, you don't ever lower your price as a copywriter. You offer a fair price for the right package solution. If someone comes to you and says, I want to buy a sales letter, you better not just give them a sales letter. In fact, in most cases, a single sales letter is never the solution. You want to make sure that if they're testing against a control, that their measures and numbers are correct. You want to make sure that if they have a sales letter, they have some kind of lead generation feeding that sales letter. You want to make sure they've got SEO correct on other areas of the website that might drive that page. Customer segmentation, so you can make sure you write the letter for the right audience. There's a lot more to consider to give a customer a complete package. Create the complete package for them. Then if the customer can't afford the complete package, then you want to look at opportunities to first validate and make sure that it's the right solution for them and they agree it's the right solution, and then help them through this joint venture opportunity to then set up the right and fair pay for you, but that they can get the right solution now rather than having to wait till later. Now, sometimes this could be a joint venture where you own the leads developed or generated, And I've done a couple of those. But ultimately, it is a syndication of resources where you're cultivating business relationships for mutual gain and profit. If you have questions about this methodology, questions about setting up joint ventures, questions about quoting your customer what's right for them, and preparing packages rather than just a press release or a sales letter or a leads piece, there's a whole world that you may not be aware of. Click the link below and visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk. Be sure to ask your questions. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips, transforming words that sell into just a font of your business growth, of opportunity for the marketer, copywriter, or business development professional so that you can grow your clients' capacity to be able to pay you what you're worth. Thanks for listening. Again, you can visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk.